Hi, everybody. It's our favorite time of the week. You know what it is? It's time to talk Maroon Devil football right here on the Maroon Devils Network. Hi, everybody. Gary Ayers along with the head coach, Coach Sherman Holt. Coach, wow, last Friday, different animal. Our first game, of course, against Charlotte Country Day. We saw more athleticism, I think. We went to Smoky Mountain High School just up the road in Greater Silva, North Carolina. Physical game. They were physical. We were physical, but good to come out with a hard-fought win.
Yeah, it was one of those old-fashioned slugfests, and we knew we prepared our kids all week. We told them it was going to be a physical football game. We had to play physical. Coach Brindley's done a real good job. They're real good up front. They get after you, so it was a good test for our kids, and kind of glad that we've had a real close ball game, already because you can't supplement or substitute game experience in those situations. I mean, you can practice them in practice, but until you get them in game on a Friday night under the lights, it's hard to replicate that. So it's good that we went up there and come out with a win in a close, hard-fought game. Hats off to our kids. We had some things that we got to clean up, but overall we're proud of them overcoming some of those adversities and just being able to gut one out and get a victory.
No doubt about it, Coach. And talking about things, we need to overcome. I know we had some turnovers, as did Smoky Mountain. We had some penalties that hurt us at times. So, our fans know that, hey, we saw that, but we overcame. But I know those things you want to try to get rid of it as much as you can in football.
Yeah, it's just, taking care of the football is something that we work on every day. We preach it to our kids. I think that's every coach in America. You don't want to turn the ball over. The good thing is we met with our kids yesterday, watched film. We've had 7 takeaways defensively, so we've been creating a lot of turnovers, and so I've heard different scenarios. Certain coaches say, well, as long as you win the turnover battle, if you have less than they do, you're okay. But I don't like putting the ball on the ground or throwing interceptions because that just kills you.
It does. Coach, you talked about our defense. Our defense, I think, did an outstanding job. Anytime you give up 10 points or less, that's a great night defensively, and they did. We forced them into a couple of turnovers. So our guys, they were flying around. I thought the secondary played really well back there. We had some good plays in the deep secondary as well.
Yeah, and really, we challenged those secondary guys yesterday in practice because we actually dropped 4 interceptions. I mean, hit us right in the hands, and we tell them all the time, guys, if they throw them to us, let's just catch them. So. But it was good. Our defense played tremendous. Not to let them score in the second half. That was huge. We come in at halftime. We told them, look, here's what we're going to change, and they again, those defensive coaches, they did a real good job. We've seen some things that they kind of got us on there in the second quarter, and we come out in a little bit different set, and we changed up our coverages a little bit, and it kind of helped us there in the second half, and we pitched a shutout in the second half. So proud of our defensive effort, proud of our special teams. We created a turnover on special teams, and we forced them to punt a lot, and we got some good field position certain times, but just going to keep getting better. We got to keep getting good at football, and it don't get any easier with Franklin coming to town this week. It's just another old school mountain rivalry.
It really is, Coach. Talking about the field, of course, we get to play on natural grass this Friday night. But last Friday on that turf, it was really, really hot. I was surprised we didn't see more cramping than we did because coming up off that artificial turf, it adds several degrees, I think. And it was hot, but both teams kind of hung in there and overcame and played good football despite that heat.
Yeah, it was real hot. We preached to our kids hydrating all week, and one thing, that field, it's real slick. And it was real humid, and it just added, to playing on artificial turf. It just added to that aspect of it. But our kids done a pretty good job, and I was proud. I think we only had really one cramp the whole game. The other, stoppages were for injury, and so it was good to see our kids adapt and overcome that heat. because it was hot. I mean, we were out there in pregame, and I think it was like 92 degrees still. I mean, it was just rough until that sun went down behind that gym. And we preached to our kids all week, don't let the heat beat us. And I don't think we let that happen. And we got some things we got to clean up. But overall, proud of the way our kids played. And I think anytime you win, you beat Smoky Mountain, it's important to our community. And so that was good for our kids to kind of experience that.
Oh, no doubt that rivalry goes back, as Rod White we're talking about. He's an old Cullowhee boy himself. He knows how important it is to win. That goes back to the Civil Webster days, the orange and black, and we'll talk about an old Golden Eagle a little bit later in the program. But you mentioned Franklin coming to town. That's another old Smoky Mountain Conference 2A rivalry. I know Franklin has struggled this year. They started off playing two of the better teams in our conference, I think, in Murphy and Robbinsville. They're both tough. But Franklin had to basically replace their entire backfield from last year. They lost their two best running backs. They lost their quarterback. So I know Coach Brooks is probably frustrated, but it's tough when you have to replace that many skilled people on a young team, isn't it?
Yeah, they're young, but and talking with Coach Brooks on Sunday, they're going to get better, and they've played really two good football teams. And I told our team yesterday, I said, you take any team in the mountains, if they open up with Murphy and Robbinsville, I would like to know, what their record would be. So 0-2 Franklin, but they've played Murphy, they've played Robbinsville. Two good teams, and so it's one of those things. Don't look at that 0-2 record, because they're still a good football team. They're still coached well, and I just know that Coach Brooks and his staff does a real good job of continually getting better as the season goes on. And they've got some good kids. They're young at certain places, but they play hard. They've got some good size, and so it's going to be a challenge for us just to. Don't look at that 0-2 record, because they're a good football team, because they've played really two good football teams. And so our kids, were locked in yesterday at practice, had a good film study, and, we're just going to continue to work the game plan today and tomorrow and kind of sharpen things up. And, we're excited. We're playing at home. Last year having to go to Franklin, that's a hard place to win, and we kind of snuck one out over in overtime. And so we've told our kids, don't think that they don't remember that, because I know their coaches are going to remind them of it. And it's just an old school. There's been a lot of good football games against Swain and Franklin over the years, and so we're going to be ready and prepared for another old-fashioned line-up, hit you in the mouth type game.
Yeah, and you hit the nail right on the head, Coach. Probably the strength of this Franklin football team, as they do improve, are the guys in the trenches. They have some good linemen back from last year, so I'm sure our guys are going to have to really play tough to establish that dominance at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it's one of those things. We've really challenged our offensive line. This week we didn't play great. We had moments last week. Smoky Mountain did some things that we hadn't seen on film, and and that's how it's going to be. That's what good coaches do. They see what you do. They prepare. They have a game plan, and so our kids, we've challenged them up front. Of no matter what they do, we got to be able to execute at a high level. And so yesterday we really hit on playing up front, both offensively and defensively in the trenches, being real good, real physical, because that's where it's won and lost. I don't care what anybody says. You can have the best skilled kids in America. If you're not good up front, offensive and defensive line, you're going to struggle. And so we're putting a big emphasis on that.
Oh, Coach, I couldn't agree more. One thing we want to talk about, too, is every week we've talked about this some people have really helped the football team providing food and feeding these guys. And if you're a sports fan, if you're a football fan, you know how important nutrition is. It's very important. So I know this week you probably have some folks you want to talk about.
Yeah, we, BP, the local market, they feed us spaghetti on Tuesdays after practice, so we appreciate that every week. They do a tremendous job. And then some local churches, United Methodist fed us last week in Whittier. I think it's Victory Baptist this week feeding us. And then on Thursday, I think we again go to CJ's for taco night. And so just want to thank those people. those businesses. Also want to thank our cafeteria staff. They do a good job. They give us a snack every day after weightlifting, and so once we got back in school last week, that started. So we really want to thank them ladies down there, because they do a good job of just giving us something for our kids to eat right before we go to practice.
No doubt. Talking about the old Civil Webster Golden Eagle, and he would appreciate this. We're talking about our own Coach Boyce Dietz. His name is right over there on the field. He was inducted into the North Carolina High School Athletic Association Hall of Fame just a few days ago. Of course, he knows those old Smoky Mountain rivalries, Swain and Silva. Back then, Cullowhee was involved in that a little bit. Franklin Murphy, we could go on. But we're going to be honoring Coach Dietz this Friday night. He's going to be setting up, from what I've been told, over in the Hall of Fame building, so people can come and visit with him and chat with him and talk to him. And I couldn't think of a better person to pay honor to.
Yeah, Coach Dietz, he's done a lot of things for our community and our county, and whether it be coaching here for 20 years and having the career he had here, and the state championships and the conference championships and the over 200 wins, and so we want to just show our gratitude for that. And we talked about it a couple weeks ago, him getting inducted, and this is just a good way for people that wasn't able to come to Cary and celebrate him on that night to come and pay their respects to him, and get to catch up. And hopefully a bunch of people will come out and pack the house, because that's always good when you have that home field advantage. And but it's always good to, Coach Dietz, he comes to practice once or twice a week, talks to the kids, and he's just so good at being able to still encourage and motivate young people. And and at the age that he's at, he's not old, but he's getting up there in years. We won't say how old he is, but he has still got it, and that's the thing. And when he shows up to practice, our kids, they kind of kick it into overdrive, because they want to be sharp for him. And we talk about playing for our county and our school and our community, and playing for the guys that have laid foundational pieces in our program. And Coach Dietz, he had a big part of that. And in his teams in 20 years, they won a lot of ball games, and a lot of the expectations that we have today are because of him and those teams and those people that work with him. And so we're just thankful that we get to again show our respect and say thank you to him for what he's done for our school.
Oh, no doubt. We look back, Coach, and we've had so many people. I know Pee Wee Jones is in the Hall of Fame. Coach Carol Wright had a great tenure here and was a great athlete here. Of course, we talk about Coach Dietz and Coach Rod White and Coach Sam Patilla, Coach Neil Blankenship. That tradition is something a lot of schools wish they had, but our Maroon Devils and Swain County High School, I think, very fortunate for those people who laid the bricks, so to speak, and this great tradition that we have.
Yeah, and we talk about it to our kids a lot, not necessarily individual people, but we talk about the expectations that when we come out on Friday night at Memorial Stadium, what our people are wanting to see and what they expect to see, and playing sharp. And we break it down on Maroon Machine, and when you think about a machine, it's something that is well oiled, efficient, and gets the job done. And so we take a lot of pride in that. And our kids, they understand that there's a lot of good football been played here. And we kind of put that on our backs. And our kids, they want those expectations, because if you don't have that, it's hard to reach certain goals. Right. And so having the expectation of when the lights come on Friday night in Bryson City, you better be ready. And our kids have done a pretty good job of embracing that, because it's a lot. It's a lot of pressure. People want us to win. They want to see us do good. And so having that is real good, because our kids know, hey, you're expected to win when you put on that maroon helmet. And so that's good to have.
It really is. Fans, that's going to wrap it up on this week's Coaches Show. The tradition keeps on rolling. Our Maroon Devils 2-0 as we get ready to take on those Franklin Panthers from across Cowee Mountain in Macon County. We hope you're going to be right here. Kickoff coming up just around the corner right here on the Maroon Devils Network.